All right, so now it's time to do a very fiery gradient cut crease. And for those of you who don't know what a cut crease is, a cut crease is creating a faux crease. So usually what we do is take the crease a little bit higher up using concealer, and this will give the appearance of a bigger, larger eye. So think if you have hooded eyes or smaller eyes and you really want to get that dramatic touch, a cut crease is for you. So let's do it. The first thing we're doing is priming the lid using some Milk Jumbo Pencil. This is a white colored base. And what this will do is just make every color pop, like it brings out all the pigment in it. Okay, and then we're gonna buff this in. And then with the brush, I'm just buffing it in and perfecting that so we're ready for all the shadows. All right, now I'm gonna go into this palette right here. So the shade here is a brown, but it's a warm brown, and I really like that to make your really beautiful light eyes pop. Taking a blending brush, and I'm just gonna start buffing that out onto the outer corners and into the crease. So I pick the shadow up on my brush, and I just start placing it first. I'm not really worrying about blending, I'm just placing it on. So instead of swirling motions, you would go in with like stamping motions. So just getting that color on. Like I said, don't worry too much about shape or blending or anything of that yet. Like I'm doing right now, you can like get in that mood a little bit, but it's totally not important. It's just important to get that color on and keep it going. So now that we've got the color on, it's time to start blending it in and creating the shape that you like. For a cut crease, I always like taking it all the way from outer corner to inner corner, because as soon as we go in with the concealer to cut the lid, it's gonna give you that definition. We're gonna move on to a new palette, this one right here, and we're gonna go in with a bright coral shade. This is gonna be our transition shade. So you always wanna start off with the darkest color in the crease, but then you wanna take a transition shade and apply it right above to give that sort of gradient fade. And with my brush, I am using soft circular motions to blend as I go. Tiny and precise circles. It does everything for you. It's like blending with your eyes closed. And because we're going for that more extreme look, I am gonna wing that shadow out. So that is really gonna give you that feline look, like. So it's starting to look nice and soft. It feels like the eye needs a little bit more warmth. So I'm adding a touch of yellow right here on the inner corner. Okay, we're getting there. Cutting the lid. This is what a cut crease is. So we're gonna grab a concealer, and you want a full coverage one. What we're gonna do is pick up a little bit on a tiny brush so you have control, and I put that concealer on the back of my hand and we start carving out the lid. My magic trick is to always go a tiny bit above your natural crease, just to make that eye look a little bit larger. It helps to kind of stamp the brush like this to get that shape in. See how I went a little bit above her natural crease? When she looks straight forward, the new crease is still like peeking through. That's the goal. Just continuing that new crease across the eye. Okay, now you think, okay, I got my cut crease done. The trick is you want to extend it towards the entire remaining part of the lid, because now if you would go in with your shadows, they wouldn't really catch pigment like the concealer part does. So to get an even amount of pigmentation all across the lid, we're just going to take the concealer everywhere. So now the lid is cut and ready for shadows. So what we're going to do is go back in with the darkest color we used and apply to the outer corner to connect. We're picking up that warm brown shade again. And right on that outer corner, we go back in. I'm also kind of bringing it onto the lid to create some nice smokiness. Now I go in with that corally peachy shade again. So our transition shade is gonna be a transition on the cut crease too. So just pressing it on straight onto that concealer so it really grabs the shadow. Okay, now I'm gonna take another palette and take this nice neutral light shade, and with this I'm going to complete the faux crease. See how we have a little bit of that concealer left? I like that color in this mix, so I'm just going to intensify it with a shadow, pressing it on to that concealer and blending it with the corally orange shade. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the Vivid Brights into Light and just carve it out. Trying to make this as thin as you can. Okay, and then because we're all about that gradient, we have another liner. Another Vivid Brights in the color Fire. So we're just continuing from the orange into the crease. So that is it for the top lid. Now we're gonna focus on the bottom. And I think I just want it to be nice and smoky and sexy. So we're going back in with the warm brown and we're just gonna smoke it in with a pencil brush. So we're just starting at the base of the lower lash and wiggling the color back and forth. And I use a very nice, sturdy, packed pencil brush so we get maximum pigmentation. The further down you go with your lower lash line shadows, the smokier it's gonna look. The final thing we're gonna do is, see that nice blinding sparkle on the inner corner? This is just gonna be that final touch. So we're gonna grab this palette right here, and it has a stunning shimmering highlighter shade. This on the inner corner is really gonna open up that eye and make everything look even larger. Okay, so now what we're gonna do to finish off is apply a couple of lashes and mascara to really get that drama going. And that right there is a beautiful warm toned gradient half cut crease ready for a party.